This video will walk you through how to complete the VO2 Max lab. There's a timeline here that shows you where different parts of the lab will be covered in this video. If you look at the Word document that you have to fill out, you'll see what you need for this assignment. You'll need the Excel worksheet, which looks like this, the Excel worksheet that looks like this. You'll need the filled out data sheet for recordings because that's where you'll get the rating of perceived exertion for. You'll need a calculator and scratch paper to finish your calculations, and then you'll need Excel or Google Sheets to make your graphs. Make sure you read all these instructions carefully so that you know what you're doing. I'm going to just show you how you would fill out the lab for one example patient. So in this case, the example patient was actually me. I did a max test in 2017 and these are the data from that test. So let's fill that out. It was a bike test, so we'll fill it out for bike. So my initials are TB. And I'm getting these data from the top part of the Excel sheet. So you can see the age, height, weight in the two different units, and then sex is in here. Then the age predicted maximum heart rate is 220 minus age, which would be 220 minus 33, and that's 187. The next part is asking you for the maximal exercise data. The initials are going to stay the same. Now you have to find what my maximum VO2 was. So if you look at the Excel sheet, that's where you will get the oxygen uptake or VO2 for every interval during the incremental exercise test. And you can see over here that it's obviously, you can see the numbers are getting bigger. What you have to do is find the highest number and then highlight that line. And you can highlight it with the heart rate if you want in the beginning, but then you'll have to make sure that you check that there isn't a bigger heart rate. So in this case, I had a bigger heart rate in the next interval, so I'm going to highlight that heart rate too, and that'll be the highest heart rate. So I'll write out what's the highest VO2 I was able to achieve during the test was 1.45, and in mLs per minute I would just multiply with 1000, so 1540. And then in mLs per kg, it actually tells you on the screen, 22.47, it's right here. And then METs you have to calculate, you'll do 22.47 divided by 3.5. And that's going to be 6.42. And then heart rate max and 192 beats per minute. So for everything except for heart rate, you will take it from the same line as the oxygen uptake. Only heart rate you're looking to see if there's a higher one either before or after the selected interval. This next question is asking you to study graphs that you need to make for two relationships, VO2 and time and heart rate and time. I'll show you how to make one graph and then you can make it for the other one in the same way. So when you're in Excel, click on Insert, find the charts, they're in the middle. That's the scatter chart. So click on that, click scatter. It should open up this ribbon, but if it doesn't, just click on chart design. Select data, add data. You don't really need a series name, but if you want, you could add it like VO2 versus time. Time is on the x-axis, so you can select time. And then VO2 is on the y-axis, so you can select VO2. And then if you click OK and OK, you have your VO2 time graph. Now the next thing you can do is do a quick layout, and you can just select one of the layouts. Maybe this one is a good layout because it already has that regression line. Add your axis titles. VO2 is the y-axis title and time is the x-axis title in minutes. Just remove one. And so here you have it, a graph showing you that the greater the time on the incremental exercise test, the higher the oxygen uptake is going to be. So there's a linear relationship. And so that will, you would write something out there. You'll have to figure out why there is a relationship, whatever you see for work rate and VO2 and heart rate and work rate. So, I mean, I know you're plotting time, but it says work rate over here. You have to figure out that as you increase time on an incremental exercise test, you're also increasing work. Whether you're on a bike or a treadmill, the longer the test goes, the harder it becomes to exercise. Question 2 is asking about whether the person has met secondary criteria for a valid max test. You have to find their data and write that down over here. You have to find the secondary criteria and write them down over here. So to find the secondary criteria, if you scroll up, there's a list that tells you what they are. And here they are. These are the 3 secondary criteria. So you would write it out. RER greater than 1.1, maximum heart rate greater than 85%, and then RPE greater than 70. You literally would write that out over here. What's the secondary criteria? For example, RER should be greater than equal to 1.10. I'll do it just for one. What was the measured value? The highest RER here is 1.41. And does this meet the criteria? Yes, it does. So I'll just bold it. And then you do this one, and then you have to decide whether the participant's bike test was valid. And so if you go back up, it tells you what a valid test is. For a test to be valid, at least 2 out of 3 must be met. So if you have 2 yeses, then the test is valid. If you have only 1 yes and you have 2 no's, then the test is not valid. So you would highlight the correct one, yes or no. Then comes question 3, and it's a long table with a lot of calculations. So the first one, you have to write out what the VO2 max is in mLs per kg per minute. And so I've highlighted it here, 22.47, and moved that over. Now you have to figure out what the ACSM fitness percentile is. So you need to know 3 things here. You need to know whether it's a man or woman. So it's a woman. Then you need to know the age. So she's 33. I was 33 at the time. So it's in this age range. And then 22.47, that would put me over here, right, between the 5th and the 10th percentile, and my fitness would be very poor. So that's what you would put out here. You would write down the percentile would be, let me go back and just make sure, the percentile would be between the 5th and 10th percentile, and the category would be very poor. And then I would write a statement out. The participant has very poor cardiorespiratory fitness, putting them between the 5th and 10th ACSM fitness percentile when compared with women who are 26 to 35 years of age. So that statement is in the PowerPoint that's uploaded for you. So you would just substitute whatever words you need to substitute to have a proper classification statement here. Now the VO2 max in mLs per minute would be whatever the number is in liters multiplied by 1000. So if you see in Excel, it gives you many more decimal places. So you could either use those or not. Both will be marked correct. So in this case, I didn't use it. I have 1450 mLs per minute. Now I have to do these calculations. What's predicted weight? What's measured weight? And if you go back to the calculation section, you'll find those and how to do them. But basically, you're using these formulae to do that for predicted weight. So here's the 2 formulae. So you got to make sure that you use the right one. So because this is for a female, we'll use the women predicted weight formula, and we'll have to substitute the height in centimeters for the number that it is, 155. So it'll be 0.65 multiplied by 155 minus 42.78. So 0.65, 155 minus 42.78 is 57.97. So let's transfer that over. Predicted weight is 57.97 measured weight is given in the Excel sheet, 64.7. So which weight will you use? If the measured weight is greater than predicted weight, then you have to use predicted weight. So we'll be using predicted, and then we'll have to calculate predicted VO2 max based on predicted weight. The next thing is doing predicted VO2 max calculation. So we will substitute age. In this case, because I'm 33, we'll use my actual age of 33, but note that if the age is less than 30, you have to use 30. So if someone's 22 or 24, you would substitute this with 30. Weight, because my predicted weight is lower than my actual weight, we'll use the predicted weight, 57.97, and then we'll solve for this. So it's easier to solve the parentheses first for bed mass and then solve the whole thing. So let's do that. So I've solved 0.17 multiplied by 33 is 5.71. I've solved 57.97 plus 43. And so now I can solve this whole thing out. So 22.78 minus 5.61 multiplied by 100.97. And I have my answer, 1734 milliliters per minute. And I can put that in here. And 734. And then percent predicted is the measured divided by predicted into 100. So let's do that. The measured was 1450 divided by predicted was 1734 multiplied by 100 is 83.6 or 84% predicted. And so then it's asking you for the AHA calculation. So if you go into the AHA method, you can see that if you're between 75 and 99, that's mild reduction in fitness or mildly reduced cardiorespiratory fitness. And then you would write out a statement based on the PowerPoint. And then you would say, did the ACSM and AHA classifications agree? So ACSM said I was very poor. AHA says I'm only mildly reduced. So I think that doesn't really agree, but they are both in the same direction. So even if you said yes, that would be acceptable in this case. If it was normal here and abnormal here, or abnormal here and normal here, then you would say no. Question 4 is asking for ventilatory threshold, and for ventilatory threshold you're going to need two plots. You're going to need VO2, VCO2 as one plot, and then VE and VO2 as another plot. And you have to plot these just like you plotted your VO2 heart rate, VO2 work time and heart rate and time. So you plot it exactly like that, and then I'll show you what you do next. I mean, there are instructions also, but I'll just walk you through it. So what you're trying to find is the break point in carbon dioxide and then the break point in ventilation. So if you do insert and shapes, you can get a straight line, and you want to draw two lines first. The first line you want to try and get some kind of regression through the first set of data points that have one slope, and then add a second line for the second slope. You just want to try and see what's the best fit between the two. And then once you find the point that it breaks at, you can do a little arrow and just drop it down to your x-axis. And one thing that could help you is if you right click on the x-axis, you can add tick marks. So you can add minor tick marks inside and major tick marks inside, and so now you can see the tick mark. And it's almost at 1 liter, so I'd say maybe that's 0.97 or something like that, but I'll just round that off to 1 liter. That's what you would put in your sheet. We know the VO2 max, we had it over here, was 1.45. So I'll put here 1.45, and then what is it as a percent? It'll be whatever your VTH is divided by VO2 into 100. Now you do have two graphs, so what you should do before you type this out is do it in both and see if they are pretty close, and then if they are not, then find a value that's somewhere in the middle as the VTH. Either one will be correct. We're going to give quite a bit of leeway in scoring these because we know that they might not always come out exactly right. We just want to know that you're paying attention. So this is a little bit over 1. I can add my tick marks so I can see a little bit better. Yeah, so here it would be like a little over 1, maybe like 1.05, and this was like 0.95. So yeah, 1 actually is pretty good, and then my VTH is 69%. Let's do that here. So I can actually go in and put that information in here. So the initials, again, the same. This will be 1.45, 69%. And then how do they compare for sedentary people versus athletes? Sedentary people are like on the lower end and athletes on the higher end. So you'd have to listen to the lecture and figure out where 69% would fall, and then write it, or this person seems more like they are trained or they are untrained. Ventilatory threshold the ventilatory limitation calculations kind of go along the same lines. There are steps on the first page that show you what you have to do, and then you'll go through and predict FEV1, maximum voluntary ventilation, the actual ventilation in the sheet, so I can type that out right away. It's 72.48. And then the breathing reserve that you calculate. So there are 3 things that you calculate and 1 thing that you interpret. So just like you've been doing before, you'll go to the steps. So here are the steps. Step 1 is to calculate the predicted FEV1. And so that for women, we'll use that formula because this is a female. And so you're going to substitute height. Height is going to be 155. You'll substitute age in years. It's going to be 33. And then you'll solve for this. So better to do the parentheses first, and I'm going to solve for it and give you the answer in a second. Okay, so let's do the first part. 0.022 into height, 3.41 minus, clear the calculator, 0.024 multiplied by 33. 0.792 minus 0.08. So this is what you're solving for. So 3.41 minus 0.792 minus 0.08 is 2.538 liters. And then the next thing is to calculate maximum voluntary ventilation, which is 37.5 into this number. I'll just do it right away, multiplied by 37.5, and so MVV predicted is 95.175 liters per minute, and then we have to calculate breathing reserve. So let's which is predicted MVV minus, copy this out, I'll fill these out over here, 2.538 95.175. We have the measured ventilation. So this is the last step, is you have your predicted MVV, which is 95.175 minus maximum VE, 72.48, divided by 95.175 into 100. And when you solve for this, you're going to get 24%. And so that will be your last one, 24%. And then whether or not someone has ventilatory limitation, it depends on that number, 24%. If breathing reserve is less than 15%, which in this case it's not, because 24 is bigger than 15, then the person is not ventilatory limited, and so this would be no. And so pretty much that's how you would do it, and then of course you would have to take your graphs and paste them below so we can see how you picked your ventilatory threshold. You could do this even by printing and using a straight edge to draw it, or you could do it in Excel. It's up to you.